express how producing and viewing art can feel like a spiritual experience. That is, in art, we can go beyond our limits as physical beings and start to feel part of something greater. This idea of art as a spiritual practice is one which the talented author and artist Juss Kaur carries into her life.
Hi, my name is Juss Kaur. The meaning of the journey within is that as I started with these paintings, each one I actually started calling it reflective mantra art because it made you reflect. Each painting that I do starts off either with a line that I read somewhere. Like for example, my last painting was called Omnipresence, but it started off with a line that comes from Gurbani, the 6 scriptures, which is Sagar mein boond, boond mein sagar. And that means the ocean is in the drop, and the drop is in the ocean.
On her website, Kaur writes, "Creating art is a form of meditation and spiritual dialogue for me. Science informs the artistic spirit, and I like to question, explore, and employ it as a muse to inspire wonder and to capture the complexities and mysteries of the invisible. My purpose is to create reflective work of art that engages the soul, yours and mine. The intention is to celebrate, to share the joy of this glorious adventure, to inspire and be inspired." I am joined in my studio with Juss Kaur ji. She is an artist and her splendid work is mantra art. We are going to discuss today about her book and her artistic experience and the experience she has as an international educator. So I welcome you, Juss Kaur ji.
Thank you so much, Haleema ji. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's start to begin with. How would you reflect upon mantra art, what it is? How would you share it with our viewers?
Mantra art for me is art that has been made by using a mantra. And for me, coming from a Sikh background, the mantra is Vaheguru. However, it can be anything for whichever religion you come from, you can have that mantra. And then what happens is that you actually make the painting, and then in it you embed
handwritten, as minusculely as you possibly can, you write down the mantra. And there's a reason behind that. And that is to remind both the spectators and the artist that in everything that we see, there is only one presence. And for me, that's one way of showing it. That's what it means to me when I say mantra art.
So, what inspired you? Because you Vaguru mantras in your work, what was the reason why you picked, like, art is a very big spectrum. So what inspired you to embed this kind of work?
Yeah, it was actually a very wonderful experience for me, because I had not pre-planned it. I did not know that I was going to do that. It was just that because that, the word Vaheguru is a word that is used for meditation. I had been to a retreat where we had been practicing that word as a meditative technique. And so I was just sitting there at a table in front of a classroom in my, they were doing a test, and I sat down, and I had not even an idea that because the word was vibrating inside me, I started writing it. And I was watching everybody, and I started writing it, and it was on another small little picture that I had made before. And it was not until the class had left that I looked and I saw that, and it really, really like touched my heart. And I said, that's beautiful, I'm going to finish it. And so that was where the mantra art was born for me. And from there on, with the help of everyone's encouragement, and I continued and slowly developed a technique that now is, we call it reflective mantra art, and a lot of people are now embracing it.
Yeah, I think it's the very popular and very makes sense type of a thought process which you have discussed. So as I was going through your book, I realized that you wanted to be a doctor. So whenever we call that, what is the perfect combination? So science, art, and religion. So your book reflects a lot. Like, as a reader, when I was going through, I had that strike in my mind that this is the perfect combination of religion, art, and culture. And it is perfect with science also. So how would you express that combination?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right, because you see, it's the scientific background that informs you about the vibrational nature of the universe, and we know that, quantum physics has told us that as you go deeper and deeper into the breaking up of an atom, you see that it becomes smaller and smaller, and in fact, it becomes vibrations. And it's just like vibrations that are going, and so you have nothing. So you and I are simply vibrations, but we are visualizing it as a solid. But imagine being able to realize that actually all these vibrations are everywhere, whether it's solid, liquids, or gases, it's the same thing. And that's where it begins to connect, because then you take a look at the religions which are telling you that God is everywhere. And then you say, really? And that's where the connection comes in. That's the way it is. It's in every person, everything, every nature thing that you can see. And so my hope is first to keep educating and reminding myself as I do the art that everything is one, and that the omnipresence is very important to cultivate within oneself. And then, to hopefully get others also into it and let them write their mantra in it and make sure that, that they connect with it in that particular manner, to know that we are all one.
So very well said. It's the awareness of being one in different forms of life and with the form of human life also. So I have also came across the opinion that you actually talked a lot about being with the company, with the people, and the work and nourishment, spiritual or duality, whatever it is within us, and we actually enhance through the company and with the people. So, how your COVID expression went through as an artist, as an educator, and what are your experiences for that?
Oh, wow, that's a huge question and a very wonderful question. For me, I think COVID was a very positive time. I mean, I'm using that word positive there, because, it allowed me to go within and to keep company of what was going on inside was what I wanted to know. Because you see, all the outer noise, whether it came from people or whether it came from any other distractions, it was reduced slowly. And so, in that silence and solitude, the company that I used to look for outside with the people and other things, of course, the company we keep is not only of people, it's of our thoughts, of books that we read, because that's what fills us up, and our consciousness is always centered around what we have filled it up with. And that's what I mean when I say keeping company of. And so during that time, this was the time to empty out everything and then just focus on the silence and the solitude. And it was a tough time, but it cleared out a lot of things that I think that were there. And so when it came to art, it gave me a lot more time, to really think about what was going on and then just spend time on it. And so I created 3 or 4 paintings during that time, and I'm very grateful for it. But having said that, I'm also very grateful for the time that we are in now, that we are away from that period. But I think it was a very wonderful reset button for everybody.
Yes, because the life has changed after
It
the
has,
COVID.
yes.
So let's come back to your professional career and your journey. You're an educator, international educator. So how art, being an artist and being an educator, helped you? Because latest way techniques says that artistic way of learning is very special kind of speciality. So I would like you to share your views and your take upon that.
Okay, so I'm specializing in the mode of education that stresses inquiry. And inquiry is a method of education where creativity is extremely important, so that you're allowed to explore anything that you're doing, whether it's science or whether it's mathematics or whether it's home sciences. The idea is to ask questions from yourself, from others, listen to everybody, and so that creativity builds up what you are finally going to produce. So it's a form of cooperation, building on others' ideas and yours. And so art automatically fits into that, as does science. Of course, the science is the first subject. Then now carrying it over into the science, to the art field, it's just a perfect fit.
So usually it is considered contradictory to each other. Usually when you analyze, you say either you're an artist or you're a science. So how you feel like which one of those two actually you own the best you think, or you perform the best you think, or you say that this is I'm best at?
You know what, I try to stay out of boxes, to be honest. I say it's not this or that, it's both. It's got to be a combination, because that combination of being analytical is important. But then you also need the dreamy part of it, the one that's not always saying analytically, this must be this and this must be this. There comes that part of you which is a dreamer and says, yeah, but why not this? So you combine both of them, and that's what calls my name.
So that's actually the perfect combination of science and art. So how do you think that mantra art is going to impact does it have that strong impact or it doesn't have impact so far?
Well, it does. I think it has been, I've been giving some workshops, some that are called the wellness webinars and some that are for children. And both of them are discovering that when they are embedding their, not embedding, but allowing themselves that time and space, and what happens is that the flow of creativity starts. That's because you're not stopping yourself and putting yourself in any particular way. Oh, I should do this and I should do that. When all those shoulds are taken out, your inner self begins to blossom. And when that blossoms, anything that is, like any of the forces that may be causing you either an illness or some sort of feeling that something is not adequate, it gives you a breathing space to know that everything is okay. And so mantra art, for those people who have tried it, they've always come back to me and said it was very, very soothing and healing for them. And I'm hoping that more and more people will embrace it. Excuse me. The children, it's a good way of letting them know that God is everywhere, because they don't know, they don't understand that concept. But when you start talking to them, and so I combine my science field and I try to show them an experiment where they are able to see that, yes, everything is surrounded by this particular vibrations. They begin to catch on. And I'm hoping that more and more people will be able to get onto it.
I guess you have, in your mantra art book, you have also given the circle, concept of circle. So life is not, it's a continuity, it's not ending. So let's talk about the challenging and rewarding points of your life. Since I was reading that, I realized that you had been through quite, I would say, a different age, like start, restart kind of a mode of your life. So how would you give your take on that?
When we look back and you see all of these little adversities that have been there, you realize that they've been building blocks. They were not places where you were stopped. They were actually giving you a place to stand up on and go further. But at that particular moment, you don't see it. And so, when I was, one of the first things that I would say was, not being able to go into my field that I wanted to become a doctor. And of course, parents wanted marriage first, and so I had to comply. But fortunately, my family has been very, very supportive, my husband particularly. And when I wanted to go back to school and I was able to find, admission into Oxford University in the UK, I had to go away. They supported me, so that was that stop and begin again. It was a complete beginning, and I lived, alone and built my career again. And so that when I came back, from there, I was able to go back into McGill University and start, teaching there. So all in all, I think that I look back now and I say, thank you, God. Thank you for giving me those things so that I could be where I am right now. And whatever He has in store in the future, shukra.
I feel like you have lived actually a full life, because life itself is a continuous change and it's continuous movement. So you are the perfect example for continuous change and continuous movement. So let's talk about your work and your spirit of donation, because you have 100% given your earnings of your art to Khalsa. So what motivated you to do so? And what was your thought behind that?
Well, all the proceeds from my art goes to Khalsa Aid. And I think one of the, in the beginning when I'd started making this art, it was just for me and my family. But it was my son who said, "Mom, why don't you share this with everybody?" And I said, "Oh, you think so?" And, you know, he encouraged me. And then I said, well, you know, one of the reasons that I would share it is to get, you know, income from it, which I can then use to support some other cause. And I started with Doctors Without Borders, because it was a very universal cause, and, you know, it gave me so much hope in humanity. You know, that here are these doctors who have excellent jobs, lots of money coming in, but they give that up. And they go to a place where they're needed, they live in dire conditions, and they serve the humanity. I couldn't do it because, again, as a woman, as a mature woman, you know, I wasn't able to go and do this. So I said, okay, so this is one other way of supporting those that are already giving so much of their, you know, the seva, everything that they really have worked for is for those places which are full of devastation. So at that time, Khalsa Aid was working in Syria, you know, helping out those people who were being, you know, completely sent, you know, completely, they had nothing. And I felt that that's the way I could help. And it continues, and I'm grateful for that.
It is very beautiful to have meaningful artistic work and beliefs and combination of realism with that. So let's come to the point that now, what should we expect from you next?
Oh,
your project, your thought about, or you're in a phase of taking a break, or what are your projects, upcoming projects?
To be honest, I don't think beyond tomorrow or today. I try to let it be. Whatever the, you know, pavement takes me to, you know, and I'm open to it. So long-time goals, I don't know. But short-time goals you can think about, because it's in the 2 years there were no exhibitions. And I think one way that people connect with art is when they actually see it. You know, even if being in a book, it's different. But when you see it framed and you see it, and you see, that's where I say, you know, it's a connection of souls. And you see it when you are in an exhibition. And I want more and more people of our background that go to the art, the galleries, and to connect with what's going on, because art has a strong influence on whether it's your spiritual growth or whether it is your just growth of knowing things about the world, the changing, you know, like women's issues, for example, or, you know, if you're thinking about any kind of diversity, and they can be portrayed so beautifully by using art. Without words, the message is given. And that's important, that our cultures, that, you know, we don't have too many people going to too many galleries to see art. And I want that to increase, if possible, you know, to get the children out there and see what's going on and to connect.
Actually, art expands our way of thinking, and life itself is an expression of art, I would add to
yes,
that.
absolutely.
So any message you want to convey to our audience through us?
Well, I would say that this method of doing art is a very soothing, healing process. And if you'd like to learn how to do it, you can join me in a webinar. I often give online webinars, and now I'm thinking of having an exhibition in England and in Canada, and over there we'll have some webinars. No webinars anymore, just in person places where you can connect. And, you know, I want to give this message that everybody, especially our seniors, they should experiment. They should go and place just some art, some color, and start writing if you want, because it just is such a beautiful experience. And sometimes when we come to a certain age, we say, not for me. But that's the time when you open up the gates. No, now is the time for me because I've done everything. So seniors, children, and of course, in between those people who may be going through any sort of, I don't want to call it an issue or an obstacle, but it could be called a particular situation. They can try doing this art. And please, I would really appreciate it if you could go to my website, and I think it might be written there. It's Juss Kaur, JUSSKAUR.com. And you can order the art book, the mantra art book from there, or some piece of art. They come in small and large pieces, so affordable for everybody. And to just remember that it's all going to a good cause. And that's and I appreciate that I'm here with you, that you're bringing the book the attention to it. It's available on Amazon and other bookstores, Indigo and other places. And so thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us in our studio today. I hope that your talk might have helped and have opened the doors for so many people to think about things.
Thank you. Thank you. You've always been so kind and generous, and I appreciate that. And I thank everybody who's been watching. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks.
Yeah. And ठीक हो गया? अच्छा, अब मैंने extra and intro. I have to record extra and intro. So you have to send. Thank you for joining us, Jess, and thank you to our viewers at home for tuning in. This is Haleema Sadia, and you're watching the International News Channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to keep up to date on all of our latest content.